Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Hotter Than Hell podcast. This is your last stop on the crazy train of hard rock and heavy metal. So sit back, buckle in, and hang on. Here we go.
Hello, you Hotter Than Hellions out there. Welcome to another episode of the Hotter Than Hell podcast. My name is Steve Wright. I am your host, and I am joined, as always, with my co-host, BC.
How you guys doing out there?
And we have a special returning guest, Mr. Sonny Pooni.
Glad to be back. How you doing?
We are doing good. We just actually met face-to-face with Sonny this weekend. We're going to talk about that in a couple minutes. And, Sonny, it's good to have you back.
Oh, it's great to be back. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. As we do in every show here, we're going to thank everybody that has helped us along the way by sharing stuff, liking our page. And we are going to split the thank yous this week, so I'm not so out of breath by the time we get done. And we're going to let BC go first with some thank yous.
All right, people. Don't shoot me on pronunciations because I'm very rough on this. But let's start off with Brian Rush and R.A. Fiorosi, Florencia Zerdo, our good buddy Jim Pekowski, Gina Tanana, and our good friend Skip Connor, Christina Green, Spencer Wetmore, our good buddy that gets us all these concerts, Frank Gilbert, Mark Arnold, Adam Cox, Dan Pekowski, Walt Agnetovich, Greg Cornell, Jen Rubin, and Pat Bass.
All right, there's BC's half of it here, and I have to thank my lovely wife, Corey, who is actually in the studio with us this evening, and she is learning how to record in case Dylan can't make it because he starts his new semester in school this year. So thank you very much, and I'm going to thank, as always, BC. He was my co-pilot and part-time driver this weekend when we went to Nashville. As always, I'm going to thank Dylan for doing an awesome job. Anything you hear extra on the podcast besides us talking is Dylan. He does all the cool stuff. Our guest last week, Chris Jankowskis. Our friend, as always, BB. Randy Bannon, Joe Mangieri, Trevor McDougall, my old buddy Rob Kelleher. As always, our music man, Mark Satorka. Joe Polo, Sonny, our buddy here again. And Jody Havnot from Podcast Rock City. Ken Mills from the Podcast. Matt Porter from the Kiss Room. Mark Anthony K from Kiss FAQ. Tasha Welsh, Laura Wright, Carl Kennedy. A special thank you to Chris Sinzak and Aaron Camaro. Those guys were great hosts for the Rock N Pod Expo that we just came from this week. And Sonny, what's your thoughts on the expo? I thought we had an awesome time there.
Oh man, I met some great people. They say, some of these celebrities may not be so nice when you meet them, but I met some great people. Mark Slaughter, nicest guy. Rick Rule, the lead singer for Every Mother's Nightmare, nicest guy. Christopher Williams, the drummer for Accept. Dude, that guy is like a best friend guy forever.
Oh, God.
Definitely.
Really cool guy. Just met some great people.
Yeah, it was great. We talked to, BC did most of the talking to the singer. Who was it?
Todd Poole.
Todd Poole from Every Mother's Nightmare. Oh, Todd Poole from Roxy Blue. I'm sorry. I didn't get to talk to him at all. I was listening to one of the panels, and BC went up to talk to him. Tell us about that, BC, for a minute.
I just got up to walk around and check out a few things before we had a lunch date. And I just kind of walked over, and he said something to me. I said something back and forth. Next thing you know, we were talking for like 20 minutes, and he gave me 3 CDs for free, and said, check them out, dude. And
cool guy.
I wanted them to be on the M3, and he said, if I could hook them up.
Yeah.
I said, dude, I wish I could.
Yeah, he wanted BC to book him at the M3 Festival.
Dude, I wish I could. So we're thinking about doing like a Hotter Than Hell Fest, so we're going to work on that.
Yeah, we're going to, we have a public park by us, and there's like an old broken down stage. Maybe we'll do a Hotter Than Hell Fest up there.
You got to start somewhere.
Yeah, and Sonny, you're totally correct on Christopher Williams. BC and I stopped by and we talked to him, and it was a coincidence that we reviewed the new Accept album on our episode that came out the day before we were talking to him, and he's like, oh my God, that's nice, that's so awesome, you guys. He made sure, actually, he made me get my phone out and friend him on Facebook, the fan page and his personal page, and he said, we're playing in New York, I think at the end of September, and he said, you guys, he said, message me, he said, I'll get you guys on the guest list for the show.
Yeah, he was so cool, and I don't know if you noticed, He got there probably about 11 o'clock when the thing started because he bought Peter Criss's drum set that he owns. He actually owns.
Okay.
He owns two Peter Criss drum sets. He came at, 11? You guys saw when he left. It was 8 o'clock. He was there the entire day.
Yeah, we saw him maybe around 5 or so. Maybe around 5. But, I didn't realize he was the one who brought those drums. They were cool. They were really cool. And I kind of probably should have put 2 and 2 together because he did have a Peter Criss solo album shirt on.
Yeah, we won't hold that against him.
No.
You don't see that every day, though.
At least someone could play them drums good.
Oh, that's just so wrong.
I know. I'm sorry, you guys. What was that, Dylan? Like 5 minutes now?
Yeah, around there.
5 minutes.
I know. But it was a great time. The guys from Podcast Rock City, yourself and Joe Polo and Jody Havnot, those guys, we hung with those guys quite a bit, and we went out afterwards and stuff with those guys. We met those guys the night before at the Cobra. We saw three excellent bands. We saw the Bad Company tribute band, and then we saw Denman. Young metal band. They're produced by Michael Wagner. I didn't get a chance to listen to the CD yet. BC did. He said it was really good. It's produced by Michael Wagner. He doesn't just produce anybody off the street, so it's got to be good. And then the band The Tip. And they were good. They were real good. What did you guys think about those guys?
Denman was really good, I thought. The Bad Company guys, they were really good. I didn't know they were actual tribute until actually they started playing 3-4 Bad Company songs. And wait a minute.
It wasn't a rock block.
It wasn't a rock block. And the Tip were very different. They had a good feel to them.
Yeah, I talked to Greg Menges, who was the lead singer for Desolation Angels, the Salute to Bad Company. First of all, that guy was a hoot to talk to, endless amounts of energy. But I told him, because the 3 musicians that were up there were rocking, so if the singer sucked, that whole thing would have been really bad. Yeah. And he was great.
He was really good.
I thought they were great. Denman kind of felt like somewhere between Metallica and Anvil for me, which is not exactly my bang zone, but I guess they were good for what they do. I really enjoyed The Tip because they kind of felt like somewhere between 70s rock and like 86 sleaze rock. It was real weird.
They were, and I thought, and actually the guitar player for Denman played lead guitar for The Tip. I don't think he was the regular guitar player though, but he had a kind of a Tracy Guns look and kind of feel to him in The Tip, and I thought they were really good. I thought they were very, very good, 2 young bands, and the guys in the Bad Company band, they were a little bit older, but great musicians. That I ended up talking to the singer from the Bad Company band for a couple minutes. Actually, he came up to me because I had a Saxon shirt on. He's like, "Holy shit, there's a Saxon shirt! I didn't think I'd see one of them here." So I talked, and actually, he was there the next day too. I was talking to him for a couple minutes there the next day, but it was just an all-around great time. Chris Sinzak and Aaron Camaro did a great job. For something that was a first-time thing out there, I thought it was run very well. I'm sure there were glitches here and there. I did hear one of the record vendors bitching because it wasn't what he thought it was going to be. But you can't please everybody. But as far as I'm concerned, it was a great time.
Yeah, the record vendors are weird because I've not been to very many expos, so I don't exactly know how some of that stuff works out. But you would think that they would get maybe together a little bit so they're not competing on prices or the same merch, or like one guy bring a different kind of merch than another guy. But there was situations where like Joe was looking at an album from one guy and it was $25, go across the way and it's $35 and it's the same album.
Yep. I saw that many times.
Yeah, that's too bad.
Yeah, but overall, I picked up a couple bootlegs and I don't even. They're not supposed to even sell them, are they?
What, the police all of a sudden?
Huh? No, I don't give a shit. I was happy to get them, I was just surprised to see them. He had a ton of good ones too, but I wasn't going to spend a couple $100 on bootlegs. But I did get a couple shows that I wanted to get. BC got a couple of vinyls that he was looking for. And actually, he got one of Sonny's favorite albums.
Bullet Boys Freak Show. Come on.
God, that was a waste of money.
Why do you hate it? Why?
Because it's not good.
and the battle has begun.
That's it.
You guys, there's a ton of stuff on our Facebook page, and if you check out Podcast Rock City and the Kiss Room and Rock and Metal Combat Podcast, how about those guys?
Those guys are a little nuts.
Those guys are crazy up there, man.
That's what PBR does to you.
Yeah, I guess so. good guys, but I mean they're crazy, man. Hey, the one guy's he's a Raider fan. What can I think it's Ian. He's a Raiders fan, so those guys are a little crazy to begin with. So, but great time all around. It was awesome weekend. Met a lot of cool people.
And I want to thank you, Sonny, for letting me hear a little cry wolf that I never heard of before.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Oh yeah, schooling you guys on some stuff you haven't heard.
We don't get too much on this side of the country, see?
Yeah.
You're on the home turf out there.
Yeah, home turf gets you some interesting stuff because I got some Y&T stuff you guys probably haven't heard either.
I bet you do.
Now you're just being mean. Yeah, so it was a great weekend, and it was great meeting you and hanging out with you, and it's great to meet people that you just talk to online and interact with on Facebook, and it was just an awesome time, and and thanks to the guys at Podcast Rock City for having us on their show, and I can't wait to hear that. That's going to be fun to hear.
Yeah, we'll see how the background noise and all that stuff came out because there was a lot of noise. Right?
Yeah, we actually had the
somebody
spot
was screaming.
Yeah, the Rock and Metal podcast guys got on the air as soon as we started doing our part, and they were like screaming, like, "Oh my god!" I think someone's being murdered behind us. But I have faith in Joe to do a good job with that. I'm sure he will. They were all your Sweet 16s, right?
Yeah, they were just the ones I came up with. No big deal, but yeah.
That was cool though. They were all different because I saw there was a whole stack of them. Like, holy crap! Like, how many hours did you spend on that?
Oh no, there were just 3 different ones, but I made a bunch of copies of them.
Oh, okay. I thought they were all individual ones. Like, holy shit, man, that had to take a lot of time.
Dude, I got a job. I ain't got time for all that.
And we appreciate you spending some of that time with us. So we're going to move on a little bit. Just one more news item. I want to pass on a very sad news item that Jane Train, that was involved in that accident with the Adrenaline Mob, she ended up passing away from her injuries, and God bless her family and friends, and at least she's at peace now, and hopefully those guys can move on after that. You hate to even talk about it, but we just want to give our condolences to the her friends and fans and family and stuff like that. So we will move on to our main topic this week. We are going to similar to what we did with Kiss a couple weeks ago with our friend Sonny here. We're doing Iron Maiden. We're going to do the period from Killers to Power Slave. So we're going to do the transition from Paul Di'Anno into the mighty Bruce Dickinson. We're going to start off with Killers. Sonny, you're a big fan of Paul Di'Anno, right?
Okay, so spoiler alert. I am a Bruce Dickinson guy because I came into Maiden in '86. But I will tell you, re-listening to Killers, I actually don't mind it. And then I went back and listened to the first album, and actually Paul's not that bad. It's just it's 2 different singers, so it's almost like 2 different bands.
Yeah, it's tough to compare anybody to Bruce Dickinson, let alone Paul Di'Anno. But BC will take Paul Di'Anno over Blaze Bayley any day.
That is true.
Yeah, I'd still take Blaze.
Would you really?
Yeah, I think he's got a better range.
I don't know. I just think the material's weak with him. The X Factor, at least. Dylan's disagreeing with me.
I think I would take Blaze Bayley too over Paul Di'Anno.
Wow, maybe that could be the next debate issue we have here. Paul Di'Anno
Who's
versus
the
Blaze
best
Bayley.
Maiden
Hey,
singer?
they both have 2 albums. I mean, it'd be a fair fight, material wise.
Yeah, I'm not sure there was any hits off X Factor though.
Not so much. There's good songs on there. The ones that Bruce do are a lot better. But we'll kick back into Killers here. First album produced by Martin Birch, and I'll just say to Dylan, I'll get this out of the way now. He produced all the albums that we're going to be talking about today.
You mean you didn't want to bring it up every album?
I may now that you say that. 2 instrumentals on this album, Ides of March and Genghis Khan. I think it's some strong material all the way through. Even Prodigal Son, that's kind of an acoustic kind of thing. It's kind of a cool song. What would you say your highlights on that, BC?
I'm going to go with the Wrathchild, Murders in the Rue Morgue. Like I said, the first 2 albums are very... I never got really into them. I've accepted them now as I got older, but back in the day, I came in with Bruce, so I could not go back to Paul. It was just...
Yeah,
it seemed just... I don't know. So much lacking compared to Bruce.
It's lacking. We were talking about it earlier. I think that what would be side 2 on the album is really strong. Like Purgatory is a great song. Drifter's great. Innocent Exile is great. What key songs do you like on there, Sonny?
I'm actually the opposite. I think side A is much better because Prodigal Son, in my opinion, is one of the worst songs on the album, because when you listen to Remember Tomorrow and Strange World off the first album, Prodigal Son doesn't hold up.
I agree with Remember Tomorrow, but Strange World is too strange for me, you know. To put it lightly. It's not bad, but
the drums on this album are amazing.
They are. And we were just talking about the drum intro to Another Life is really cool. And there's a really cool live version of that out there that I think Jim Florentine, a version of Another Life on there, and it's got a drum solo and everything. It's actually very good. They play it real good live. And we're all in agreement that there's kind of not a lot to talk about for Killers. It's Paul Dano's last album, and it's not bad, but you could see they're starting to emerge, and the material is getting a little better and stuff like that, other than Phantom of the Opera on the first album. But songs like Drifter are great. Killers, solid album for a good sophomore album.
Yeah, and I think you just hit it there. The musicianship's getting better, right? And as the years go by, the musicianship continues to get better. By the time they get to like 87, 88, they are perfection.
Yeah, they're on a roll then. And this is Adrian Smith's first album too.
Right.
So I think that had a lot to do with it.
I don't think Deano could have lasted anyway, because that raw, punky, edgy voice that he has works the first two albums, but it wouldn't have worked later.
No, the material was definitely headed away from that, I think, at that time. And and when Bruce came in, it just blew him away. As far as the tour went, they just come off of the tour with Kiss for the first album. They were firing on cylinders. They were a touring machine at that time, and they were getting on, a young band. They were getting on tours, any tour they could get, and they were really hitting on all cylinders. And there's one video out there where they do Killers. The lyrics are totally different than what's on the album. Because I remember seeing the video, and I'm like, wow, I think it might be on the 10 Years Wasted or something video compilation, and they come out and they do Killers, and the lyrics are totally different. I guess they said that he wrote the lyrics backstage right before the show. So I don't know if they didn't like them and they changed it when they got to the studio, or if they didn't like the ones from the album and he changed it on stage and then went back to it. But it was just weird watching that.
I believe it was live at the Rainbow that was on.
Okay. That was kind of cool how they did that. But like I said, Paul was kind of getting crazy with stuff like that, and I guess he was like a big partier and stuff like that, and wasn't getting along with the band, and they just kind of said goodbye.
Here's the door.
I just can't believe the singles they chose. So Twilight Zone and Purgatory. I would have chose Wrathchild and Murders in the Rue Morgue. Who's picking these singles?
I agree with you on that one, because I don't know if they were trying to go for the same feel that they put out with when they put out Prowler from the first album. Maybe they're trying to go for something along that kind of lines or something like that. But if you look at the songs in the album, Wrathchild is really probably the only one that would you would think would be more radio friendly, even at that time, that all the stuff that was out.
Yeah, I agree. The instrumental thing always kind of turns me off. I like Ides of March, but then by the time you get to Genghis Khan, it's like, come on, you guys couldn't come up with lyrics or something? Is that what it is? I mean, I don't understand.
Yeah, just they could have definitely did. I'm sure they had other songs at that time, or they could have even skipped that and just made it a nine number song, album rather. Maybe he's running out of ideas. I mean, Genghis Khan is a cool name. I mean, with all the historical stuff that they eventually got into, they really could have did a cool, lyric song with Genghis Khan. I mean, Steve Harris, did wonders with different historical figures. I think Genghis Khan would have been a cool one to do.
And, to start controversy, right, or start rumors or whatever. Maybe it was he wrote something, but it's like, well, the singer I got can't sing that.
Exactly. I was just about to say that. That's it. He was on his way out, and I think they were just kind of like, hey, let's just jam out. And that's my personal opinion.
I never thought of that.
I'm glad you brought that up.
Point. When Steve Harris comes on the podcast, I will ask him that. And since we're doing this episode, I'll have you guys on there, and you guys can ask him questions. I'll have you guys asking that question since you guys thought of that. That never even occurred to me at all. That is a great point.
He said it. I was like,
wow, good job, fellas. Okay, so Paul's gone, and in between Killers and Number of the Beast, they put out Made in Japan, which was my introduction to Iron Maiden. Me and my buddies were down the record store in Scranton, Pennsylvania, getting our weekly run to Scranton on the bus to check out Ralph's Record City, the one that was in the Ritz.
Down the basement.
Down the basement. That was the time when you were pretty much judging a book by its cover. You're picking out albums just because the covers look cool. I think Killers was out maybe there also in the first one. So instead of buying like a whole album, we figured we'd each pick something. I picked the one with a couple songs on it just to see if we liked them.
Plus it was live.
And it was live. Live always helps. And so that was my introduction to Iron Maiden. And I must have got that right before Number of the Beast came out, because Number of the Beast was the next album that I got, which is our next album on the list, which is just like light years ahead of the first two albums. BC.
I got Number of the Beast, not when it first came out neither. I mean, it was probably a good year after, but like I said, once you hear Bruce, I was hooked. I mean, there's not a bad song on the album, if you ask me. I like it so much I got it tattooed on my arm, so... Maybe Gangland, I would say, might not be. And maybe Run to Hills, because you hear it all the time. Maybe it's like we don't like the hits. So, but Children of the Dam, Prisoner, Number of the Beast, Hallowed Be My Name. I mean, to me, this, and like Sonny kind of, the sound just kept getting better and better, and they're going in the right direction with Bruce and the band now.
Yeah, like Children of the Damned. There's no way Paul could sing that.
No.
There is no way.
Hell no.
Especially that last note.
Right.
And even the softer part in the beginning, I don't think he would have beaten something.
No, and the only song I actually don't like on that album is Invaders, because it's like, Bruce, what are you doing? Yeah, it almost. And then when I did research, I found this to be true. They wrote it while Paul was still in the band. So my guess is the melody was written with Paul being able to sing it. Because I'm listening to it going, Bruce, like you could have done so much better with this song. Why is the melody like the first two albums?
I like that song.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan.
Well, you know what? And Steve Harris didn't like it either. He thought that it was a really weak beginning song. I mean, hey, he's Steve Harris, but I respectfully disagree with him. I think it's a cool song, about the Vikings and stuff like that. I think it's a very good starting song, and it kind of reminds me of like the beginning of maybe a Wicker Man or something like that. Just a cool, not a long, a short Maiden song. And actually, as you go through the Maiden albums, they start to stretch out the songs a little bit. Looking at the times on these songs, a couple songs that start to stretch out, but there's still a lot of 3 and 4 minute songs on this album. But it is a great classic album.
The cover art. The cover art's so cool. I love that Eddie's got the devil on the puppet strings, and then the devil's got
Eddie on the
puppet strings, which is awesome. It's awesome.
And it's funny, that album, when Derek Riggs drew that was supposed to be the cover for the single of Purgatory. And Ron Smallwood told him no. He said that's too good of a drawing to be just for a single. He said that's going to be an album cover. And it ended up being Number of the Beast, and it fit perfect with the thing, all the the fundamentalists, in our awesome country didn't like it, and they were burning them, and those that didn't burn them smashed them up because they didn't want to breathe in the satanic fumes from the albums. Great album. I mean, my favorite song on there is, Rod Smallwood, not Ron Smallwood. Sorry about that. Is their manager. And, my favorite song on there is definitely 22 Acacia Avenue. Love that song.
Yeah, that's a cool song. Yeah. That's a cool song.
Yeah,
I was reading the Number of the Beast lyrics today.
Okay.
It looks more like it sounds more like a dream to me than anything about, praising the devil.
It is, and Steve Harris has said it 1,000, probably more than 1,000 times, that's what the song is. That the people, they just keyed on the name of the album and the song, and hey, these guys are Satanists, Knights in Satan's Service. There's Kiss. Iron Maiden. They put out the Number of the Beast album. They're singing about the devil. It was just crazy.
I almost see it almost as like a prelude to Dance of Death, just with the imagery of like the kind of the torches blaze and sacred chants, and then you have like these people dancing around the fire in the woods. It's kind of like almost like a prequel to that song later on in their career.
Yeah, I think it's a very, very good. Like you said, you can no way in hell picture Paul Dano singing "Children of the Damned." Like, come on, like not even close. Even the "Hallowed Be Thy Name." That is like the classic song I think their most epic song. Throughout all the fans out there. Well, what would you pick for your best song on there, Sonny?
I would actually pick "Run to the Hills." And I know it's the hit and it was a single, but it's one of those songs that for some reason I never get tired of. And I don't know what it is. And all the covers I've heard of them are good, and all of the versions I've heard Iron Maiden do are good. But besides "Run to the Hill," "Hallowed Be Thy Name" is like the perfect epic end to the album. You can't come up with a better ending.
Yeah, if that song was somewhere stuck in the middle of the album, it definitely would not have had the impact that it did. And we've talked about it before on this podcast. It's a building song. It just builds, and then it tears your head off. And in the end is just I could still like my favorite version of that is when they do it on Live After Death. And you watch the video and Bruce is standing there and he's having the people scream like in the last part when it comes
the left
up,
and the right side, and then
everybody. And then everybody. It's crazy. It's just every time I hear that song, I picture that, and it's great. And it's a very visual song too. Here's the guy sitting in his cold cell when the bell begins to chime, and it goes right through to him, walking up to the gallows and him thinking about, is this it? Is there anything else out there? It's just a very atmospheric and a very reflective song for this, this guy that's condemned to death. It's freaking great. Just awesome. What do you think, BC?
That's my favorite album of all time by Iron Maiden, but
mine too.
And hey, come on, the band Dream Theater did a live show, just the entire album in entirety. Did you hear that, Sonny?
Yeah, I did hear that.
I'm a big DT fan, so I thought that was very cool.
Well, I will debate with you about the best Iron Maiden album ever. But
none of the ones we're talking about today are my favorite Iron Maiden album.
No, I know. We discussed that. We can talk about that one for a couple minutes too at the end there. Just Number of the Beast, though. That was Clive Burr's last album. He was out of the band after that, and then he was gone they say due to health reasons and stuff. Because unfortunately, R.I.P. Clive Burr. He ended up passing away. He had MS, and What a blow! You're a drummer and everything like that, and you get just a disease like that. It's just gotta totally suck, for anybody. But that's your profession and stuff like that, and it just knocks you down. But Clive Burr was a good drummer, very good drummer, and he's part of the classic Iron Maiden sound. They had a massive tour. They toured their asses off for this album. I think it's their strongest material to date. They recorded it in 5 weeks, and some of the bands they opened up for, and the tour was called The Beast on the Road. They opened up for the Scorpions and Rainbow, and even, how about this? They opened up for 38 Special.
They had some odd pairings, because the first time I saw Maiden, Vinnie Vincent Invasion opened.
Oh, really?
Yeah, 87.
How was that?
It was good. I talked to Mark Slaughter about it at the expo. I'm like, how did you guys get to open for Maiden? And he goes, it was just the record company put us together, and we were getting stuff thrown at us because Maiden fans just wanted to see Maiden.
Maiden fans are tough.
Yeah. But Vinny was out to prove that he's the best guitarist on the planet at the time, so he kind of overdid it.
He plays enough for 3 people.
That's true.
Yeah.
Get ready for the video, baby.
Yeah. Vinnie Vincent, new videos coming out. Actually, it's going to be out the day that you guys are listening to this podcast. If you listen to it the day it comes out, that will be September 1st. So hopefully, when you guys are done listening to Vinny's video message, maybe you come over to Potter Than Hell and check us out. I hope the Vinny thing turns out good. We'll see. We'll see.
I picture him in a chair. He's talking to his computer, but there's no lights on him, so all you see is kind of like this black figure.
Like the silhouette, like they
Silhouette, yeah.
Yeah.
like when they interview the guys that are in witness protection.
Exactly.
Maybe we'll have his voice modulated.
I was
Maybe,
just gonna
maybe
say-
it's actually Chris Sinzak and Aaron Camaro fucking with us again. Yeah, but we digress into the Kiss world every now and then here on the Hotter Than Hell podcast. Like I said, they toured their asses off for that. They opened up for Judas Priest. Imagine that tour. Seeing Judas Priest, Screaming for Vengeance, and Iron Maiden, Number the Beast. Like, oh my God. And
That tour right now would be amazing.
Oh my God. But you know what? Priest would be the opener now, though.
Yeah, absolutely.
Co-headline,
both play 2 hours or whatever.
Oh, I would definitely be into that. That would be great. But I mean, even back then, like they're pretty much both iconic albums from those guys, and you're seeing them on one tour. And unfortunately, I wasn't old enough at that point to be allowed to go to concerts, and even like back then, it was tough to hear about concerts though. Like you didn't hear about shit. You didn't have the internet
And Facebook, and
I mean that was decades away.
I think we touched on this a little bit on the way back from the expo there. Back then, it was so much different. Like you didn't have the internet at your fingertips on your phones. You didn't hear bands listed or played on the radio, which is not too often in our area. And then when you went to a record store and you just looked around, and that's how you found stuff, it was so much more exciting to me, I thought.
Oh, we definitely talked about that. There was the big mystery then of what was coming out. Now there's nothing. Like what the album cover is going to be like when it comes out. What the songs are going to be. The album title is going to be. It was always great to just go into a record store and say, "Holy shit! There's a new Iron Maiden album, or there's a new Kiss album, or there's a new Judas Priest album."
Hell,
it was great. But now it's just there's the mystery is taken out of it.
By the time the CD comes out nowadays, you've heard 2 or 3 songs off it already.
Yeah.
So it's like, damn.
Yeah. Thoughts, Sonny?
There is no excitement. You're right about that. Problem is, the other part is they can't sell any albums. So the only way they can sell albums is to try to get you excited about it. So then they'll leak a single, they'll leak another song, just to try to get you a little excited. So that kind of takes the mystery out of it too. But if they don't do that, they're worried they won't sell any albums.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Right, so you're kind of stuck.
Yeah. And the worst thing for me is, and BC knows I've been doing this, I've been going old school, I've been going dark. Like, I will not look at any, if I have a concert coming up with someone that I haven't seen, I will not look at the set list. I don't want to know what the set list is. I want to at least get myself back to that part of how things were, just to go in fresh and not know what songs they're going to play. Like Frankie Stanza, I want to go in fresh. I don't want to know what songs they're playing. Like people will talk about it, I'm like, I don't want to know what they're playing. I at least want that to be a surprise for me.
That's interesting. I'm the exact opposite. So I'll go on setlist.fm, check out the set list, make my iTunes playlist to match it exactly, and then you've got the jackass in the crowd going, "You didn't play that exactly like the album because I just heard it."
Oh, those people, those guys. Listen, Hotter Than Hellions out there, don't be that guy, please.
If you go to see a live show and want it to sound like the album, stay home.
Yep. Yeah. All right.
Because, some of those songs I might not have heard in a while. So, like, if they decide to do Charlotte the Harlot, like, if I haven't heard it in a while, I want to at least be able to follow along, sing along, know the music, that kind of thing.
Well, so when Bruce puts the microphone down to Sonny, he knows the words when he wants to sing it.
You don't want a Family Guy Kiss moment.
Yeah.
Oh, Lois, here comes the best part.
And have a wonderful time. Is that it? Oh, no, it's and something all day, right?
Oh, man, I've lost all faith in mankind. Music is dead to me now.
All right, now we're done with Number the Beast and the Beast on the Road tour. Peace of Mind. Clyde Burr's out of the band now. And Dylan, here you go. Still produced by Martin Birch. They recorded this one in the Bahamas at the Compass Point studio. And I think that this, with Nico McBrain coming in on drums, just totally completed the band. Monster drummer. nothing against Clive Burr, but he was a perfect fit for Iron Maiden. And this is my favorite Iron Maiden album. This is the first album that I had of Iron Maiden that actually I was able to get like as soon as it came out. Like it wasn't out for a while or whatever. I just love it. I love the sound of it. I think it's got like a warm, classic sound to it. The drums are phenomenal on it. You also have Bruce Dickinson emerging as a writer in the band. I mean, the story goes that he co-wrote some of the songs on Number of the Beast, and he wasn't credited because he was still under contract with Samson. But like the songs on Peace of Mind, I think just complexity-wise and everything else, I think it far surpasses the Number of the Beast.
Well, it has your funeral song on that album.
It does. The song Revelations that I forget how it starts out in the beginning.
Well,
I'm a loss for words right now. Yeah.
Lost for Words is on.
Lost for Words.
That's
on
Power Slave.
And I have an issue with that too. We'll get into that later. I told Dylan, I said I want you to read this at my funeral. So when you listen to the first song of Revelation, the first verse, that's going to be read at my funeral, and then everybody, you're going to party. All right. He's got his hands up in the air. I think that album is just it's Maiden. That's Iron Maiden is right there. All the puzzles were put together at that point. BC.
I have to agree with you. The sound to me, it was just a continuing.
See, it is. It's better. It's better
sound.
than Number of the Beast. Thanks for agreeing with me.
Well, I don't mean it's better. I mean, of course, it's going to be better because they just kept getting better. And Number of the Beast will be my favorite because of my first. Come on, second. But I agree with you. Their sound just kept getting better. Nico's a monster drummer. I mean, look at the way the CD starts off with Where Eagles Dare.
Thunderous drums in the beginning. And I especially like Peace of Mind because it starts out with Where Eagles Dare, which besides The Good and the Bad and the Ugly, Where Eagles Dare is my all-time favorite movie, number 2. And the closing song, To Tame a Land, Dune, love it. Like in my top 5 books ever, just love the Dune stuff.
And Dream Theater does an awesome version of that too on
they do.
The special edition of their album Black Cloud and Silver Linings.
They do.
And that was amazing.
Yep.
That version, and the original song is great too.
Yep. Sonny, thoughts on Peace of Mind?
My second favorite album. There's 1.5 songs I don't like.
All right, let me guess. You're gonna say part of Sun and Steel and Flight of Icarus.
Wrong and wrong.
Oh,
Bam!
Go
It's
ahead.
all of Die With Your Boots On
Wow.
Really?
and half of To Tame a Land.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
What's wrong with that?
I actually love Flight of Icarus.
That's awesome.
All right,
I don't
let's
like
start with
Christmas.
Die With Your Boots On. What's up with that?
It's just the melody in the chorus, and just the way it's written. I'm just like, come on, guys, couldn't come up with something better. It's compared to Where Eagles Dare or Flight of Icarus or Trooper, because those 3 rock, right? And I don't know, never. And they keep doing it live, which I'm just like, come on, dude, stop doing the song.
Well, they know it pisses you off. That's why.
That's exactly why they're doing it. They know I got to go to the bathroom at some point.
That's
Scream
what
from
they
me,
say.
Sonny.
They're gonna say, Sonny, we're playing the song till you like it.
Yep. That's how, if you ever get captured by the enemy, they're going to put headphones on you and play Die With Your Boots On for 24 hours straight. And I do agree with you, The Trooper. If someone said to me, what song would you give someone to listen to if you wanted to say, here's a heavy metal song? I would instantly pick The Trooper. Instantly.
That bass line is... All of Steve Harris's bass lines are just like... The fact that he could do that with 2 fingers... Like the galloping, like amazing.
Yeah.
It's
so good.
it is a metal song. I think that song defines metal. It has all the elements, the galloping drums and bass, the guitar, the vocals. It's as much as I enjoy songs about partying and drinking and getting laid and stuff like that. But this is a cool thing. That's the Charge the Light Brigade. It's look at BC. Look at okay, and but it's just it's a metal song. If someone said, What song should I listen to? I want to be a heavy metal fan. The Trooper goes on.
And the vocal, right? Because he's got that kind of like operatic. Everybody says Bruce has got that voice. It's theatrical, right? And that really makes the song for me because the story has so much feeling to it.
Yeah, you could actually picture that. And the video for it is fantastic too. You can just, they have it, it's edited really well, and it has the horses charging and stuff like that, and my horse takes a blow, and the guy's going ass over tin cups off the horse. It's great.
And I think it's interesting that it doesn't actually have like a chorus. It just has the vocal
chanting,
kind of
the vocal chanting.
Like there's no like refrain of lyrics or anything, and it's still like one of Maiden's most iconic songs. And I think that says a lot for the power of Maiden.
And it's still hummable and singable, and it has no chorus. That's crazy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the solos in it, the guitar work is fantastic. That is just a kick-ass metal song. We talked about Revelations. Flight of Icarus is great. That was the first video from the album. And they showed Nico McBrain a lot in that, I think, because they really wanted to show people their new drummer. And the drums in that song alone are just like kick-ass. Still Life, which is pretty cool. It's an odd little song. And Quest for Fire, I think, is actually cool. Dylan does not like Quest for Fire. I think it's a cool little song.
Fire. That chorus is so annoying. It's like so like kiddie. Like it's like, oh, we're gonna teach you about. Oh, I can't stand it.
I burned myself off. I burned myself out after the first 5 songs.
BC's laying on the floor in a pile of blood and piss by the time the Trooper's over. Sun and Steel, that's the only song I could
do without.
It's got the best catchy chorus. Are you kidding me?
Sunlight, I don't know. I think it's a little too popish, I think, that chorus on that, for some reason. In my book, that's the emergence of the sword songs, which we'll get into on the next album. So this is, I think, the one that they should have just done and been done with it, and we'll talk about the other ones on Power Slave. And I have to say, talking about the tour, World Peace Tour, that was the first concert I ever saw, was Maiden, Iron Maiden. We saw them, it was August 18th, 1983 at the Allentown Fairgrounds. It was the famous show that they recorded, the Mission from Erie, that was, I think I talked about another show, they got like messed up or something like that in the solos, and they were fighting backstage afterwards, and someone recorded it, and they put it out as a song on a B-side, and it's actually pretty cool. I mean, I didn't hear about it till years later, and they said the show. I was like, holy shit, I was at that show. Great show, and the tour was excellent. They toured, behind the Iron Curtain for that tour. They toured everywhere for that. I was gonna say, Sonny, you definitely didn't see them on that because you didn't get into them later. BC, you didn't see that tour either, did you?
I did not.
Okay, just a fantastic tour, and as we're talking about.
Money was tight.
Money was tight for BC.
I had no car.
There wasn't any Ice Capades shows scheduled in August of 1983, so he couldn't tell his mom he was going to the Ice Capades at that time. I'm going to talk a little bit about the B-sides, but when we're going to talk about the B-sides, we are going to go right into our hidden gems. And this week's first hidden gem is going to be brought to you by BC.
All right, people, we're going with some English hard rock. They're called The Treatment. The name of the CD is This Might Hurt. It came out in 2012. And I forget who they opened up for.
They opened up for Kiss.
Was it Kiss?
They opened up for Kiss.
Were you there?
Yeah,
yes, I was.
I saw that tour too.
Was The Treatment opening it up?
Yep.
What do you think about them?
I thought they were great.
I thought they were real great. I got to meet them. I was working at the Mountain that night. And after they got done playing, they came back. Like, this concert venue had a back area, and there they were. And next thing you know, we're bullshit with them. The bullshit with the vocalist for a while. He goes, want me to go get the rest of the band? And like the guy, all right. I said, yeah,
all right.
Go get the rest of the band. And he went and got the rest of the band. They came out and probably a good 40 minutes just throwing shit with them, talking about how things are in America. I was like bashing America, and they were happy to be here. I thought that's weird. I'd rather be where you guys came from. You guys rather be here. I mean, that's
let's get
weird.
BC was bashing American fans, not the country.
Not the country, no, God no. But just the way rock and roll is so depressed in concerts and festivals, everything in this country is just
people don't want to come out.
But anyway, let's get back to CD. I mean, check it out. These guys really just straightforward rock. Some songs are like "Shake the Mountain," great song. Departed, which opens up the CD, another great song. And then there's my theme song, Drink, Fuck, Fight. I mean, how can you go wrong there? But that's my pick.
I think they just put a new album out. Actually,
I don't think they have the same vocalists. I think they're totally different.
Oh, really?
I think they're gone a whole different direction. To be honest with you, I'm not 100% sure, but
they were being talked about it on the podcast. I think they do have a new album out. I don't know the status of the members and stuff though. But Sonny, that was the Kiss and Def Leppard tour, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought it was.
Yeah.
Since we'll let you go next, Sonny.
All right. So my album is from 2005, and it's a band called 40 Deuce, and the album's called Nothing to Lose, and it's actually their only album. And for anybody that knows me, I'm a huge Kiss, Y&T, Stryper fan, but my two favorite singers of all time is Jeff Scott Soto and a guy named Richie Kotzen. And 40 Deuce is a Richie Kotzen concoction. He is the vocalist and lead guitarist. There's another guitar player named Taka Tanada he met in Japan. Ari Barron is on bass, and a guy named Three on drums. It's a raw but still catchy with a little bit of punk attitude type of rock. So a lot of strumming, kind of distorted strumming type riffs, but still catchy and singable. So if you've never heard of 40 Deuce, try songs like Next to Me or Oh My God. You'll kind of feel the songs are like love and anger and relationships. So kind of a little bit, yeah, it's kind of all over the place a little bit when it comes to the relationship, love and anger piece. He's mad on some songs, he's happy on some songs, and then there's a couple of songs like Wanted and Nothing to Lose. Like they could be redone by Maroon 5 right now and be hit singles. So it's really, really good stuff. 40 Deuce, Nothing to Lose.
That's cool. Right before we went on air, Sonny texted me what his hidden gem was going to be, and I checked out two of the songs, and they were great. They were really cool, and I'm like, wow, that sounds like Richie Kotzen, and it was. I mean, like it's great. It's not what it's like. If you hear Richie Kotzen and think Poison and Winery Dogs, it's nothing like that. Nothing like that at all. You know, the two songs that I listened to are the ones that you mentioned, Sonny. Next to Me, Oh My God. Really, really good songs. So you guys check that out. 40 Deuce, the album's called Nothing to Lose. BC's was The Treatment. It's just The Treatment, right? Self-titled, or is it a...
The Treatment, This Might Hurt.
The Treatment, This Might Hurt, okay. And Dylan, what do you got next?
Well, originally I had Dream Theater's version of Number the Beast as my pick, but BC decided to talk about that during... I mean, it was appropriate to talk about it then, so I can't be too mad at you. But
if I knew that, I would have...
No, it's okay. Definitely check it out, though. There's some really awesome versions, especially The Prisoner, which I think is one of the most underrated Iron Maiden songs. But I'm pulling an audible, and I'm picking an album by a band that you might know. I think they're called Aerosmith. How do you pronounce it? Aerosmith?
Aerosmith.
That's it, Aerosmith. And it's a 1979 album, Night in the Ruts. I think this is an album that should have gotten a lot more play. It has, Remember Walking in the Sand is the big single, but 3 Mile Smile is one of my favorite Aerosmith songs, and Bone to Bone Coney Island Whitefish Boy is amazing too. Plus Reefer Headed Woman's like a really cool, like bluesy kind of jam going, and it's a really just tight, solid album from front to back, and I think it's underrated in the terms of Aerosmith's kind of pantheon. I mean, Rocks is a great album, but I'm partial to Night in the Ruts myself, so that's kind of my hidden gem.
Night in the Ruts is a really, really good era, and I do agree it's very underrated. I don't even know, do they even do anything live off that anymore?
They do Remember Walking in the Sand sometimes, and that's like the worst song I think on there.
Crappiest song on there.
Like 3 Mile Smile and like Bone to Bone. Oh, it's so good, so good. I listen to it so many times, and I never get sick of it.
It's great. I mean, my favorite song on there, I love No Surprise.
No Surprise
is a great song. Great opening song.
It is.
Night in the Ruts, you familiar, Sonny?
I am. I'm not a huge Aerosmith fan. I got to be in a mood.
I do too.
I just don't get them sometimes.
They've gone way too popular. Well, Steven Tyler wants to be a country singer now, I guess. Whatever. I mean, BC and I have talked about Aerosmith many times, and I would love to go see Aerosmith if I could pick the set list. I mean, that would be just awesome for any band, but and then my wife is going to frown at me when I say this, they're like Bon Jovi now. They play too many of the slow songs.
She's not going to frown. She's going to hate you.
I mean, I realize they're the hits. I just think I don't like the slow stuff. I think it just sucks. And I just don't like how
you do want to close your eyes. You do want to fall asleep.
I do fall asleep. If that's a good song to drink a lot because you have a lot of opportunities to go take a piss.
Hey, that scene in Blades of Glory was amazing.
Aerosmith lost me after Permanent Vacation. So to me, they went totally downhill after that. I mean, you can't beat Done with Mirrors.
Done with Mirrors is
Permanent Vacation was good though too.
Permanent Vacation was good.
It didn't. After that, was it too bad? But it was the downhill.
It started a little downhill.
You mean you're not a fan of Just Push Play? It's not bad. But
actually, I think they copied off of. I think they copied Autograph on that album cover.
Yeah, that is.
Look at that album cover. It looks like the sister of the guy that's on the Autograph albums.
Homage. It's an homage.
Yeah, a pink homage. All right, I'm going to pick. I'm going to stay with the theme of the show here. I'm going to pick an Iron Maiden song. They did a cover of "I've Got the Fire," a Montrose cover. There was on a B-side. I think it was from. Flight of Icarus's B-side. They did that, and they did "Cross-Eyed Mary" by Jethro Tull. But "I've Got the Fire" is just a very rocking, dynamic version of "I've Got the Fire." And Jen, I know you're out there listening. Bruce Dickinson sings this song 1,000,000 times better than Sammy Hagar. It's just a great song. Just the guitar in it, the drums in it, when the solo kicks in. You guys, I'm not sure if it's available on iTunes, but I'm sure it's on YouTube. Look it up. It's "I've Got the Fire." Just put "I've Got the Fire" Iron Maiden. It'll kick you right in the ass. You'll be like, holy shit! Like Sammy Hagar should never sing that song again because like Bruce just like kicks his ass like so bad on it.
Bruce Dickinson.
So that's my that's my hidden gem for the week. So we have 40 Deuce by our buddy Sonny. The album is Nothing to Lose. BC, we have The Treatment, This Might Hurt. Dylan, Aerosmith, Night in the Ruts, and I've Got the Fire from myself. And as we talk about Iron Maiden again, we are going to transition right into Power Slave. These guys, they were firing on all cylinders. Once they got Nico in that band, these guys were just on fire, 1,000%. They open up with Aces High. I mean, just the last two albums, songs were World War II things. And another one of my favorite movies is a movie called The Battle of Britain, and it's about the Battle of Britain. And that's pretty much what Ace's song is. When they do it live, they do the Churchill intro to that, and it's just great. Just listen to that song. It's awesome. Sonny, you a Power Slave fan?
I am. I would say Aces High, and then it goes into 2 Minutes to Midnight, is one of the best 1-2 punches on a heavy metal record ever.
Mm-hmm. I agree. And I was thinking about it too. I think you could even reverse those songs and they would still have the punch.
Yep, agreed 100%.
And the only reason I said that, I mentioned Wicker Man before and I misspoke. I was thinking about 2 Minutes to Midnight. 2 Minutes to Midnight, the guitar in that and Wicker Man kind of have the same kind of sound in the beginning of it. But just both of those songs are kick-ass. I mean, it's just the beginning of a great sounding album. It's just sonically, it's great. Once again, Dylan, Martin Birch. And BC, what do you think? Starting off here.
Come on, it's Maiden. I mean, it's just a continuing of their sound.
Of the greatness.
The greatness just keep moving forward. I mean, like you said, Aces High and 2 Minutes to Midnight. I mean.
And then they get out the gun and shoot themselves in the foot by having an instrumental next.
Well, they were at a loss for words.
Obviously.
Then the song after that.
You know, they could have taken the lyrics that Sonny thought that they wrote for Genghis Khan and thrown it in Lost for Words here. Just like, I mean, it's good, but like, come on, guys, you got Steve Harris and Adrian Smith and Bruce Dickinson writing shit. You can't come up with lyrics for like one more goddamn song.
It's 1984. You've got one of the best rock vocalists ever, and you do an instrumental. I just do not understand.
You bench them.
Yeah, I mean, if you wanted to do an instrumental, do like a minute and a half one, like Ides of March or something like that. But this was like 4 minutes and 15 seconds long. Like, come on, like let the guy sing.
What were you thinking?
And then they don't put the gun away. They leave the gun in their hand, and they shoot the other foot with another fucking sword fighting song and Flash of the Blade. And then they keep the gun out, and then they shoot themselves in the head with the Duelists. They come out of the gate just like a raging pack of hellions, and then the next 3 songs are like, what are you doing?
They trip and fall.
The 1-2 punch, and then they trip over a shoelace.
It's like you see the guy running down the mountain, and he just hits a rock, and he just starts to fucking roll down the hill. And
even back to back in the village, it's like it pales in comparison to The Prisoner, which it's kind of the sequel to.
Yeah. Sonny, thoughts on those next 3 songs there?
I'm with you, because those are, in my opinion, the 3 songs I don't want on the album. Everything else is great.
Yeah, I don't know what happened there. Like I said, I thought they did their sword fighting song on Peace of Mind, which was probably the weakest song on that album. And then they put 2 more on this album. Guys, like, you're killing me. You're just absolutely killing me. BC, how about you?
I agree with everybody here. They start off with the 1-2, and then all of a sudden it was like, boom. But they came back at the very end there, I think.
They came back. Back in the Village was not bad. It started getting up off the ground, I think.
Slave.
And then they finished strong, just like the song Power Slave alone, epic song. They you had the album cover with the pyramid and the Eddie and the Sphinx kind of thing there, and you could picture that on this song. It's just it's a very visual song. What do you think, BC?
I agree. Power Slave. I mean, at least I was getting a little nervous mid-album there, and I was like, oh boy. And then they brought it back at the very end with Power Slave and Rhyme. I mean, how can you go wrong with those 2 songs?
Yeah.
They brought it out in the 9th inning, so I mean,
they pulled it.
They rallied.
They rallied
at the very end there.
How about you, Sonny?
I love both those songs, but man, 20 minutes, 21 minutes, like Rhyme being 13 minutes long is a little brutal, because I've got ADD when it comes to that stuff. 13 minutes, I mean, I could have sex, go get ice cream, come back, like...
Have sex again?
13 minutes is a long time. Yeah, maybe. It's just a long time.
I think they could do without like the really like quiet part where like he's reading the passages off.
Yeah.
Like I feel like we could shorten that up, and like it would be a tighter song, and like it would keep your interest a little bit, because like it kind of loses you a little bit.
When we get in, actually, we're going to talk a little bit about Alive After Death after that. I love the epic song. We did Empire of the Clouds on Book of Souls. It is just such a cool thing. That song doesn't seem as long because you don't have that little part in the middle with the creaking of the ship and all that stuff. But I thought it was very atmospheric. But I mean, I love it. I love the last 2 songs. And the funny thing is that when they do it live, they do them in reverse. They do Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner, then they kick into Power Slave. But great way to end an album. I think they definitely dropped the ball on their second, third, or their third, fourth, and fifth songs on there. Solid album, but definitely not as good as the 2 before. What do you think, BC?
I agree. I mean, they just come out of the gates and I don't know, like you said, overall, it still made it, but
the graph dropped down.
It dropped down quite a bit right there, but it finished strong, though, so I was happy with it.
All right, let me ask you guys real quick. Killers, 1 to 10 rating. What would you give it? Sonny?
7.
Okay, BC.
I was going to say
top
7.
ahead.
7.
7. Dylan.
I was also going to say 7.
I was gonna say 6.5. Okay, so we're all in the ballpark here. Sonny, number of the beast.
8.5.
BC.
10.
BC 10. Dylan.
10.
I will say. I'm gonna say a 9. Just I'm gonna take a point off for Gangland. BC. Peace of Mind.
9.
Sonny.
9.
Dylan.
8.5.
Steve gets a 10. Here we go. Power Slave. Sonny.
6.
BC.
6.
Thank you.
Dylan.
Let's go. I'll go 6.
I'm gonna say 5.
Six.
I'm gonna say 5. Maybe a strong 4.5. Just those 3 songs just absolutely kill me. And that's just off the top of our heads. We didn't do any crazy, points for this and points off for that. That was just off the top of our heads. And I actually, that wasn't even part of the show. I just thought of that, pulled that right out of the sky. Good rankings. Let's talk real quick before we wrap up here. Live After Death. Those guys did a great world tour for that, called the World Slavery Tour. They played the first Rock in Rio show ever there to over 300,000 fans, which, hey, you can't beat that. That's just like insane that there's that many people in one place for one thing. It's just insane, Did anybody see that tour?
I didn't see it.
Dylan, you weren't even a thought then. I didn't even know your mom then.
You missed it?
Yeah, it was a mistake.
BC?
I did not see it.
You know what? I don't know how in hell I missed that tour. My brother actually saw that show, and I didn't. I know.
I mean, they kind of did like a repeat of it with the like the Flight 666 kind of stuff.
They did. We saw that one. We saw that. Were you there for that one, Dylan?
No.
Okay.
Because Dream Theater opened for them, and that was back when Mike Portnoy was still in the band.
Where did your
I
brother?
wasn't supposed to mention that.
Where did your brother see him?
In Binghamton. Great tour, though, and they recorded Live After Death, the album and the video for that. I remember getting that. It was a double album. Actually, that was the one that we got on vinyl because that came out, obviously came out before CDs were out. Cool, open, gatefold thing. They had all the statistics down there about how many guitar strings they used and how many guitar picks and pints of beer they drank. And
they say
they even put how much milk they drank. What?
Did they say who produced each show?
That might be Martin Birch.
Did you say milk?
They did. They actually. I'm pretty sure. I'm like 98% positive they said how much milk they drank on that tour.
How much coffee?
I don't know. I don't remember seeing coffee. It might be on there, but they just had like so much stuff broken down. I'm like, wow, that's a lot of detail, but really cool. But what they did was sides 1, 2, and 3 were the show that they recorded at the Long Beach Arena over, I think, 4 nights. I think Wasp opened up for them for that show. They recorded the whole show there. But side 4 was from the Hammersmith Odeon in London. So for the first albums, you got side 1, you got the Churchill's Speech, Aces High, 2 Minutes to Midnight, The Trooper, Revelations, and Flight of Icarus. Side 2, Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner, Poor Slave, and The Number of the Beast. And side 3, they wrapped it up with Hallowed Be Thy Name, Iron Maiden, Run to the Hills and Running Free. Side 4, that was from the Hammersmith Odeon, they did Wrathchild, 22 Acacia Avenue, Children of the Damned, and they dedicated the next song, Die With Your Boots On to Sonny. And then they finished up with Phantom of the Opera, which, I couldn't wait to, actually, when I first got that album, the very first one I put on was side 4. Because, I had heard all the other songs, live, here or there. But, I wanted to hear, because I hadn't heard 22 Acacia Avenue since I saw them in 1983. I never heard them. I don't think they did Children of the Damned that we saw them. I saw them do Die With Your Boots On and Phantom of the Opera. But it was just so different from what they were doing in the United States. I just wanted to hear those songs. And then I listened to the rest of it, and it was great. It's a great sounding album. And like I said, we were talking about Hallowed Be Thy Name. That's the version that I think of when they play that song.
Love the cover, too.
The cover is great. The cover is excellent. And if you open it up, it has the whole graveyard instead of just the Eddie picture on the front.
This was one of the first live albums I ever bought.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What'd you think of it?
Oh, I thought it was great because I hadn't seen Maiden yet. I saw them probably about 6 months afterwards, and that side 1, with Aces High, 2 Minutes to Midnight, Trooper, Revelations, and Flight of Icarus, that's like a greatest hits. I mean, those are my favorite songs. Basically,
greatest hits that weren't shitty hits that you didn't want to not hear.
Yeah,
I think Maiden's a band that they don't really have any songs that you're like, ugh, this one again.
No,
there's even Run to the Hills. They haven't been playing the last couple.
And
tours.
They've taken Hallowed Be Thy Name out of their set because there's some kind of lawsuit going on now with the song or something like that that's absolutely fucking ridiculous.
Breaks my heart.
But when we saw them on the Book of Souls tours this year, they did play Hallowed Be Thy Name, but when it came around to the second leg, it's out of the set now.
Yeah.
Stupid.
Now, what happened with that? Because Steve Harris wrote it, right?
No, I know, but there's some kind of lawsuit going on now about they're saying, I don't know, maybe plagiarized or something like that. Dylan's looking it up right now, but they took it out of the set. They're not playing it live until the issue is resolved.
Fuck that! I'd play it live, shove it down his throat. That's just me, but
I'd open up the show with it.
hell yeah. Seriously, look at his album. Okay. Can anybody say there's a bad song on his album?
There's not even close to being a bad song on there.
Every song here is great.
And the version that's on the, which is kind of weird, the version that's on the actual album of Live After Death of Running Free, the version of that, there's a long version. It's like 8 minutes plus on the album version. But when the CD came out, there were two different things on the CD. Side 4 was not included on there because it was only a single disc. And this version of Running Free was cut to like 4 minutes. So they took out all the crowd stuff in the middle of Running Free, and you didn't get the extra songs on side 4 when you bought the compact disc of Live After Death, which was, believe me, extremely disappointing.
Okay, so it looks like the lawsuit involves Hallowed Be Thy Name as well as The Nomad from Brave New World.
Really?
I guess they contain music and lyrics from a song by Beckett, they're a British prog rock band, and the song's Life's Shadow. And I guess that they had settled with Steve, like the guy had settled with Steve Harris, but then they didn't acknowledge the other guy that wrote its like hand in the songwriting. So I guess the other guy's suing.
It would be a
who's this band though?
They're called Beckett, I guess.
Someone we've never heard of.
Well, you've actually heard one of the songs called "Rainbow's Gold." The Iron Maiden covered it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was a B-side from Power Slave.
Yeah.
It is. I actually have it in front of me. Yeah, the guys' names are Terry Slessor and Kenny Mountain. And actually, Rainbow's Gold, that is a B-side, and I think it's a B-side of either Races High or 2 Minutes to Midnight. Rainbow's Gold, Adrian Smith sings that on that song.
Total 70s feel, too. It's like
it
a
does,
70s
it does.
song.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, it's okay. I mean, you know, it's a B-side song. Not even close to being as good as I've Got the Fire.
So after all these years, they're deciding how to.
I know. I don't know how that came about.
Well, the one guy got his royalties, but I guess the other guy was not acknowledged, so he's mad about it.
He's butthurt.
His turn to get his.
Well, hey, credit where
15
credit's
minutes
due.
of fame. Well, we're gonna have to see if we can find that song and maybe post it and see what the similar. So if it's a prog rock song, it's probably another song that's like probably 15 minutes long or something that we'll have to sit through and get that. Sonny, any final thoughts on Live After Death?
No, I loved it. Like I said, it was one of the first live albums I bought. Just the cover art, just amazing. I mean, that's how I got into Maiden to begin with. I had seen the Wasted Years video. That's the first video I ever saw. But the kid in high school, at my high school, you would see all these Maiden shirts. I'm like, man, that is great art. That's a metal band? I was obsessed with Eddie. I bought all kinds of Eddie stuff in the late 80s. I had all stuff because the art is so cool.
That's awesome. And the art is what got me into Maiden, too. Like I said, we were down looking through things, and I saw Made in Japan, and they have Eddie with the samurai sword, and it was just like, holy shit, like let's check these guys out. I'll buy the EP, give them a chance, and if we like it, I'll come down and get the rest of it. And the rest is history because obviously we're here talking about it. 40 years later or however long, and great. And as far as my final thoughts on Live After Death, one of my top live albums. That's one that I'll throw in every now and then just to and that's one of the albums that's kind of like here we go, Dylan. It's kind of like Kiss Alive. You put that album in, and it takes you right back to where you were when you were first listening to this stuff. And it's just it's a phenomenal album. Like BC said, there's not one song on that you could say even remotely sucks. And
you don't hit the skip button at all on the CD.
No, there's not a weak song on there. There is really not. In my opinion, some people may not like whatever's on there, which you may need to have your head examined otherwise. But I think it's great. BC, final thoughts on Live After Death?
To me, it was great. This is back in the time before internet and all this shit. And back then, personally, I just loved live music, so I was trying to get my hands on anything. So if one of your favorite bands came out with a live album, you're like, holy shit,
you were buying it.
You were buying it. And like the art, they had the whole package. They had the music, the art, and it's just...
You got to find out how much milk they drink.
And how much milk? And
if I can find that, I will post that.
That is funny. I don't remember that.
Yeah, Dylan, Live After Death. Anything you got? What do you got for us?
I mean, Maiden, I don't think has put out a shitty live album. Like every live album they've put out has had solid material on it. I remember Rock in Rio.
Oh my God!
The crowd in Rock in Rio was one of the best crowds I've ever heard on any CD. They're treating it like a soccer game, like singing along with the riffs, and I mean, I'm not talking about Live After Death right now, but it set a precedent for the great live Iron Maiden.
Yeah, I mean, it was the first full live album for Iron Maiden, and it was great. You know, we love Iron Maiden. This is the first of what we're going to have of several Iron Maiden shows, and I want to thank Sonny for coming on tonight. Sonny, any final thoughts for the Potter Than Hellions out there?
No, just wanted to thank you guys for having me. It was great to meet you. This little podcast community we got. I'm also on Growing Up Rock podcast on Podcast Rock City, and all three of us kind of made a friendship, which is great. And I think the podcasters got to stick together.
I totally agree, and like I said before, it was great to meet you, and I appreciate the time you take to spend with us here to come into our little world here and hopefully expand our listening base. And BC, how about you?
Again, I mean, this weekend was an eye-opener for me because, like you said, we got to meet so many people, and please forgive me, names are very hard for me, but there's so many people I met. Overwhelming, and like you said, you can sit there and just start talking to these people, and like you know them forever. I don't know.
It is. I mean, it's a great community.
Sonny won my love when he knew who it was. So.
You had me from Cry Wolf.
So I mean,
you make it a Valentine this year, Sonny. From BC.
Yeah. The only two Cry Wolf fans left in the world.
Exactly. See?
The four band members don't even like Cry Wolf anymore.
Cry Wolf doesn't want to be Cry Wolf. And Dylan, final thoughts?
I mean, I grew up listening to Maiden. I remember being scared shitless by all the Eddie statues and,
You're welcome.
And cloth posters that you had out. But
scared shitless.
They have a special place in my heart. I could always just pop them on and be just transported to another world with their lyrics and the music. They know how to just pop an image in your head with like with Aces High, like you get the beginning parts, like kind of the planes ready to take off, and then like when it kicks in, they're in the middle of a dogfight. Like it's perfect. And Maiden is probably one of the bands in providing kind of an imagery in your head to put you in a certain place at a certain time.
Yeah, they have that visual lyricism that they do that is just crazy. I mean, they have great talent in the band, and I want to thank everybody out there for listening. Spread us out there. Share to your friends. Tell them about us. Tell them check us out. And if you guys are listening to us for the first or second or third time, or hopefully this is our 10th episode, technically our 12th episode. We did a greeting one in the beginning. We did a little mini Van Halen episode, but this is our 10th official episode. So if you're only listening to us maybe for the second or third time, go back and check out the other episodes. There's a lot of cool stuff out there that we talked about. We talked about everything from debut albums to we did a Gene Simmons show and a Peter Criss show. Although we weren't at the Peter Criss show, we still reviewed it. But there's a lot of cool stuff out there. We talked about Kiss, a lot of cool bands, Van Halen debate we did, and there's going to be more debate episodes coming up. We have some shows on Ozzy coming up. We have some shows on Judas Priest coming up, Scorpions. We're going to have a couple very special guests coming on the show to talk about their musical careers and stuff like that. So you guys check us out. Share us on Facebook. We're on iTunes. We're on CastBox. We're out there. So check us out. Help us spread the word. We'll grow this show some more. And I want to thank everybody out there for listening. And we will see you next time. You got something to say, BC?
I was gonna say, get on Facebook. Let us know what you think. If you disagree with us, let us know. And we'll,
if you think that
you have show ideas, let us know. Come on. We'll talk about anything.
Absolutely. If you think we're crazy about kind of slagging on Power Slave, let us know why. Tell us why you think that Van Halen, or why do I keep saying Van Halen? Why Iron Maiden needs 3 sword fighting songs within 2 albums. If you think that is a thing that they need, if you think that they need to have more solid sword fight, let us know and tell us why. And we'll give you a shout out, and maybe we'll talk to you personally, okay?
And if you think we rag on Peter Criss too much, and we're going to tell you we're going to still rag on him, but
I just really sincerely want to thank you guys out there for listening. As of tonight, we have almost 4,500 downloads, and we've only been on the air for like 2 months now, and we'll be starting our next month coming up. So thanks everybody out there, and we will see you next time, and there will be a next time.